The entire attempt of the Shastra is to give us the vision, clear vision of oneself as the Sachidananda Atma, which is free, which is ever present and unchanging. The unchanging background on which all changes are happening. Now, often our vision is always, or our sight or our orientation is so much with body identification. One is totally identified with one's body, mind and senses. And we take the perception that comes about because of these sense organs to be the ultimate reality. No doubt the senses, the mind, all of it are going out, perceiving different things, and finally getting processed to give you a imagery, give you a picture of the world. But the question is this whole perception or the world as you see is an independent reality, or is it dependent on something else? Now you see, you take everything to be real, everything to be non-changing, because we do not usually keenly observe anything. Thus, we think that the world is existing independently. The vision of Vedanta is to show that the only self-evident, independent principle is the Atma Tattva, Atma Chaitanya. Everything else is dependent on it. Everything else is appearing, everything else is shining, everything else is in the borrowed light of this consciousness, and it is borrowing sattva, satta from this Atma Chaitanya. You see, that you are present is evident to you. You do not have apeksha of any other pramana. But now you see the fan, the door, the light, any other object in the world. Now you say it is only because it is evident to you. Now truly look at everything from your standpoint. That's why Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji used to sometimes tell Vedanta, spirituality, as subjective science. Subjective science. Now look at it from your standpoint, from your angle. You say something is only because it becomes object of your awareness. It becomes evident to you. Otherwise, it as if it doesn't exist at all. In fact, Vedanta takes the approach finally saying that nothing has independent existence. You are saying it exists because it is evident to you. It is borrowing the existence from you, the Atma Chaitanya, only then it is appearing to be in a particular name and form. Otherwise, it is as if it is not there. Now, when you look at the entire world, entire universe from this framework, that you are the constant presence and that Sat is Chit, we saw that. And now every Nama Rupa is appearing and disappearing on this screen, and they do not have any independent reality at all. But our sense, our understanding is that everything is solid. Everything, the world, the show called world is very much solid. No, it is not. It is just the show appearing in your consciousness, in your awareness. Just Nama Rupa constantly changing. Just try to appreciate this from this example. You go to a movie theater and you're sitting and watching all that appears on this screen. All that appears on the screen. What is happening? Continuous flow of pictures. You can't hold on to anything from it. And each picture is passing, a new scene is there, and you are there, you are witnessing it. And next scene, dance, comedy, romance, fire, death, killing, birth, all that is happening on that screen. You can't hold on to anything there. It's just passing. And now, look at the entire world, your waking experience. Is it anything different from this? You are there as the Sakshi of all that is going on, all that appears, all the scenes of life, all that is appearing. The body, your own body, the changes in the body, other things which are appearing, all that is there. Can you hold on to anything really speaking? And is it any different from that movie? So nothing. Really speaking, nothing. For a jnani, there is no difference between the scene, the movie there and the entertainment which is going on in the show called world. Just a show. Not independent at all. You are there and everything is appearing in this vast screen of consciousness as thoughts, one after the other, one scene after the other. Sometimes you are the father, sometimes you are the clerk, sometimes you are this and that. All that is just going on, but none of it, just like the movie, none of it you can hold on to. But somehow, because of the body-mind orientation, we think that everything else, whatever I am seeing, touching, feeling, is all some solid reality. Vedanta pushes us to move to this understanding, to recognize that I am the only constant. I, the witness, the Sakshi, is the only constant. Rest of it all is constantly changing. And they are not independent reality. Nothing is independent. Everything is shining in this borrowed satta from me. I understand this and I have this appreciation. When I have this appreciation, you understand the whole waking prapancha, the whole waking world is no different than the movie show. All your experiences, nothing but this movie show. Nothing can really touch you. Nothing can really pierce you at all. You are there just as the Sakshi of everything. Just as the Sakshi of everything. Now then, a question may be raised. Why did this body identification, this bondage come about? Why did this bondage even come about? Upanishad is addressing that. Shabdamayavruto naiva tamasayati pushkare bhinne tamasi chaikatvam eka evanupashyati. Upanishad is giving a very interesting expression. Shabda maya vruto naiva. You see, this ignorance is the content with which, or the investment with which we start the business called life. This is how it is. And if you ask why did it come, okay, you can give some explanation. Finally, Shastra also says anadi, beginningless. It is there, but it can end. It is there, we all are born with it. We do not have true perception of ourselves. We are born with it, but then through the jnanam of the Shastra, you can end that, you can put an end to the ignorance. So in the detailed writings of Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda ji, this encounter with Tapovan Maharaj, his guru, is given. So Swami Chinmayananda ji asked Tapovan Maharaj, so how did this ignorance come about? When did the ignorance start? Tapovan Maharaj looked at him and, are you here for knowledge? Are you here to know ignorance? He asked. Similarly, Swami Viditatmananda ji, one of our senior teachers, often tells this story of Buddha. Once some scholar came to Buddha and asked, so what is the source of ignorance? Why did it come about? Why this ignorance even? You never have given explanation to that. So Buddha, it seems, replied, suppose an arrow is stuck on your back. So what would you do? Would you sit and calculate which direction this arrow came from? Why did it come? What speed did this arrow come? What is the poison which is pierced in the arrow? Would you sit and speculate about all these things? No, you would just turn back and pull out the arrow from your back and throw it and become free. So this entire setup is like this. This is the ignorance which we all start from. But then Shastra says there is an end to it. You can put an end to it. Even though it is there, but you can put an end to it. Just as you can remove that arrow and throw it out, this ignorance, jnananjana shalakaya, so from the instrument, the pramana called Shastra Jnanam, you can put an end to this ignorance. So, why is that even though the self is my own true nature, Sachidananda Atma is my own true nature, why do I do not have the grasp of it? Why is that it seems like a Herculean task to abide in the self, to even have a knowledge or grasp of the self? So Upanishad is telling, it is because of the delusion of created by words. Very interesting expression. Delusion created because of words that we have forgotten our true nature. That we have forgotten our true nature. You see, a child is born. The baby knows that it is. The same satta experience is there even in that baby. The baby knows that it is. And now the baby is developing. The parents do the namakarana ceremony and give a label to that baby. So and so name. A nakshatram is assigned. A gotram is assigned. And the more and more the parents try to condition the baby. Okay, I am that papa, call me daddy. Papa, mama, this is you. And they show the mirror. Who is it? Who is it? They will show. Then the baby say, I, me. So then layers of conditionings happen like this. Then furthermore, then the baby meets some relatives, etc. So told that this is your family. This is your body. These are your clothes. these are your toys. The baby, really speaking, never has any mamatvam in the toys. The parents say, this is your toy, this is your toy. And suppose siblings or the baby is going to play with other neighbor house friends or anything, even more, this is yours. You should go take it and bring it back. So further more conditioning. Baby grows much more. Then the baby goes to the school, the child goes to the school, and some more layers of knowledge about the external world. And some more I and me, some more self-identity. The child grows a little more, teenage or adolescent period, more orientation on the body, the hairstyle, the makeup or accessories, whatever that boy or girl is going to wear. So furthermore, need not elaborate, the journey goes on. Never we get an occasion, whenever the baby gets an occasion, where this knowledge that you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are that satta, that you are existence. And what is that? Is that a jada existence? No. That you are and you are aware of that fact. Never this knowledge is given by anyone. A Shabda Maya is created by the entire society, because that society also doesn't know any better. Nobody to blame. So there's no original mischief maker. So there is mischief, and then you can correct it. So this just goes on. So because of this delusion created by words and words and words, we fail to grasp this most simple and the profound fact that I am and I am ever present, and there is no limit to my existence and knowing of my existence, and I am free, unattached by the body, with the body. This knowledge never comes from the shabdas of the world. The shabdas of the world create more and more and more confusion, more and more confusion. And suppose that person now may come in search of Shastra also. Now again the person is, and can get into the trap of another Shabda Maya of the words of the Shastras only. This is what Shankaracharya cautions in the Viveka Chudamani. Shabdajalam maharanyam chitta brahmana karanam. Suppose you do not have a guide, the Guru, to take you through the journey of the Shastra, then you may have an occasion to get overwhelmed by words and words and words of Shastra. The person has tremendous amount of words now, but still a dukhi, still a dukhi. In the 7th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, sage Narada goes to Sanat Kumara. And he says, "O revered Guru, please teach me Brahman. Please teach me Brahman. And I am in sorrow. Please give me a way out of this sorrow." So Sanat Kumara first asks Narada, okay, now first, before I tell you something, now you tell me what all you know. So Rigvedam, Yajurvedam, Samavedam, Atharvanam, Kshatravidya, Vidya, Nakshatra Vidya, Narada gives a big list of all that he knows, all the Vidyas that he knows. I think Narada Maharshi must have understood his folly. By the end of the list, he tells Sanat Kumara that, "Oh Bhagavan, I know all of this, and I think, but I have still dukkha in my heart. The shoka is still there. I do not know a way to come out of shoka." So you see, one is an expert with all the words of the loka. All the laukika padas, the shabdas are there with the person. Now the person may come to the Shastra also. With what attitude? Only to accumulate some more words. as though a subject is to be studied, as though something has to be memorized. The orientation, the same Laukika orientation he brings to the Shastra also. What is the Laukika orientation? Laukika orientation is you want to understand something, so you get to know all the words about that object. Get to know all the words about that object and put it in a context, and you will get to know that object. Now the same orientation you bring into the Shastra, it doesn't work, because Atma is not an object. Not an object where you, with certain features, certain gunas, that you accumulate all the words about Atma and you know the Atma. It doesn't work like that. The words of the Shastra operate in an entirely different way. The words of the Shastra only negate all that doesn't belong to you. Atato Adesha Neti Neti, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. All the words of the Shastra are only eliminating all your wrong understanding. So if the words of the Shastra are not piercing through your wrong understanding and eliminating your wrong understanding, simply you are accumulating words, and they may become a web of words in which you may get stuck or become a burden on your head. So Upanishad is pointing out, it is because of the delusion of words, due to ignorance, there is some ignorance, and which the material with which we all start, and along with that you get conditioned by words after words after words. Because of this, you are never able to reach the lotus ambuja called Atma. You never can reach, because in order to, before you reach that lotus in the pond, so much of murkiness, so much of algae, this, that, creepers are there, and which are compared to words here, they are there, and you get stuck there and never have this appreciation of simple fact that you are, and then your full awareness, existence, Atma Tattva. Bhinne tamasi chaikatvameka eka evanu pashyati. Now, Shastra, the Upanishad is telling, only when this ignorance is destroyed, only when this ignorance is destroyed, how? All the wrong conclusions, every prakriya of the Shastra comes in and then demolishes the foundationless building which is built. Foundationless building which is built. So, that is how the Shastra operates. This ignorance is the cause of the entire problem. What is that ignorance? I take myself to be the body. I take myself to be the mind. I take myself to be the sense organs. Now, again and again, day and day, we have been seeing the prakriyas of the Shastra, where it is addressing each of our mistake. Each of our mistake is being corrected. I take myself to be the body. We did the analysis of the Annamaya Kosha. Is it a permanent entity? Is it really you? We saw that. Then you understand that no, none of the things that I am trying to hold on to are solid, unchanging. What I am really looking for is this changelessness, changeless principle. And Shastra is correcting all of our mistakes to point out at the changeless Atma Tattva which I am. So this mantra, Upanishad, is simply telling that once the ignorance is destroyed, eka evanu pashyati. That person, that mumukshu, that jignasu, who put forth effort in understanding oneself, with the help of the Shastra, with the help of the Guru, eka evanu pashyati. He clearly sees. He has this clear vision of himself As what? As the body? No. As the very Atma Tattva, as the very Atma Chaitanya. So all you look at it with the background of the other prakriyas that we have discussed, which is the Panchakosha Prakriya, the Avastatraya Sakshi Prakriya. With reference to all of it, now look, the mistakes are being created at 5 levels. The mistake you mistook the avastas themselves to be the real, but then with the help of the Shastra Vakya, you arrived at the Avastatraya Sakshi as that which transcends the Panchakoshas, and you are that. That is what Shastra is revealing. And that person who has undertaken this journey discovers oneness. Moving further, Shabdaksharam Param Brahma Tasmin Kshine Yadaksharam Tadvidvanaksharam Dhyayet Yadichet Shantimatmanaha. Now Upanishad is introducing an upasana. The Omkara upasana, which was already given in this Upanishad, the same Upanishad is now again giving us another upaya, another upasana to focus on Parabrahma Tattva. And what is the upasana given here? It is first saying that Shabdaksharam Param Brahma. May you meditate upon Omkara, may you meditate upon Omkara as Brahman. Omiti Brahma, Omiti Idagum Sarvam. Now we are taking Alambana of Omkara for this upasana. The Shabda Brahma is the Omkara. Brahman is being represented by Omkara. May you meditate first. You do not know the Parabrahma Tattva, but you need the training of the mind. That's why Upasana. Upasana helps you focus the mind on a particular object. For this Upasana, we are fixing the Upasya Vastu as Omkara. And that Omkara is being meditated upon as Brahman. The Upasya Vastu, starting with Omkara now, then the Upasya Vastu is really Brahman. How do you go about it? Upanishad is telling, first, the syllable Omkara itself you look upon as Brahma Tattva. The Omkara itself as Brahman. The sound Om may you look upon as the Brahman. Now, how do you do it? Now the Upasana is just simple. You are focusing your mind on the Brahma Tattva. You close your eyes and you start chanting the Omkara, and that Om itself is being meditated upon as Brahman. Om is the Brahman. Now, Upasana, do we end here? That's all it is? No. Now, you bring in that the Omkara has the Akara, Ukara, Makara. 3 elements to it. May you look upon the Akara as the Jagrata Avastha, the Ukara as the Swapna Avastha, and Makara as the Sushupti Avastha. And the silence which follows the Om, may you recognize that as the Sakshi for this entire Avastha Traya. which is present in all three avasthas. In all three avasthas. The Upanishad is making use of this method to show that the Omkara, when the sound begins, Akara, Ukara, Makara, as a representation of all three avasthas, and then the silence which follows is the Turiya Atma, which is the Sakshi. And may you recognize that Sakshi, Avastatraya Sakshi, in the silence which follows the Omkara. Let us now just do this Upasana. As even you are chanting the Omkara, you close your eyes, let us begin the chanting of the Omkara. As even you are chanting the Omkara, assign Akara, Ukara, Makara there as the Avastatraya, and the silence which follows, recognize that you who is ever present as the Sakshi of all three avasthas. Take a steady posture. Eyes are gently closed. Inhale. Inhale. Slowly and gently open your eyes. The Upanishad wants us to undertake this upasana of taking the help of the Omkara as a symbol, as a sound symbol for Brahman to start with. But then this same upasana, the essence of this upasana has to be also looked upon with the background of understanding. Meaning what? The sounds of the Omkara, Akara, Ukara, Makara is there as the avasthas, but then it is emerging from silence, and there is sound, and it is merging back into the silence, and this silence is taken as the Avastatraya Sakshi, as the Turiya. And Upanishad is telling, an informed person, a wise person, meditates upon Omkara as the Brahman itself, and finally, through the Upasana, he gains the Chitta Ekagrata, Chitta Naischalyam, and finally with the background of the understanding that we have discussed, Omkara taking help of Omkara, and then looking at yourself as the Avastatraya Sakshi, that person finally gains the truth. Because what is the truth? That you are that Avastatraya Sakshi which is ever present. That which is ever present. And in this recognition comes peace and Ananda. Not something coming from outside. You recognize your own real nature, which is but peace and Ananda. Because now nothing touches you. Everything you look at as the Sakshi of all three avasthas. Just as the movie. Whatever is happening on the screen, you just have an appreciation of all of it as a Sakshi. So somebody asked me, Swamiji, you don't go for any movies now, do you miss that? So I say, no, I'm watching the movie called World all the time. This movie is going on, 3 shows, no, morning show, afternoon show, and evening show or night show. Like that, Avastatraya is all the time happening, and 100 million things keep on happening in all these avasthas. If at all you can separate yourself from these avasthas and abide in yourself as the Avastatraya Sakshi, then you have not only 3 hours entertainment, you have continuous entertainment. Something or the other keeps on happening here. Something or the other keeps on happening. So that is the Upanishad is giving this simple upasana. That's why all the time we are chanting Omkara, and then only thing that you have to dwell on the silence which follows the Omkara, and look at yourself as the Sakshi of both sound and silence. You are that constant presence in and through everything that we are doing. So, a seeker, a mumukshu, a jignasu goes about this upasana and also the enquiry into the Omkara and arrives at one's own true nature. Furthermore, Dve vidye veditavye. Dve vidye veditavye tu Shabda Brahma Param Chayat. Shabda Brahmani Nishnataha Param Brahmadhi Gacchati. Now, Upanishad is elaborating furthermore and slightly bringing a differentiation. Dve vidye veditavye Shabda Brahma and Param Brahma cha. Omkara is the, as we have discussed, is the symbol for the reality, symbol for the Parabrahma. The mind is all the time going here and there. First, mind needs an anchor to get connected to. So we are using the most prasiddha sound symbol of the Vedas, which is the Omkara, and fixing that itself as a symbol for Brahman, and we are meditating upon that Omkara. And that is the upasana in itself. All that you need to do is to chant Omkara and be focused there. And that is the symbol for Parabrahma. And this is the Shabda Brahma. All that you are doing here in this upasana is focusing on the sound of the Omkara, with the background understanding that this symbol is the symbol indicating the Parabrahma Vastu, the reality itself. And you focusing on that Omkara. And having inquired into this Omkara, what is the Omkara standing for is my own self, the Atma Vastu, then you abide in this understanding, and that becomes a Nididhyasana. One is a dhyana where Omkara is separate from me and I am concentrating on Omkara, the sound symbol Omkara, and knowing and understanding that this is a symbol for Paramatma Tattva. So there the focus of mind is involved. Why? Because mind has a tendency to go here and there. You have to bring back. Suppose the mind, once you chanted Omkara and mind went somewhere else, thinking about this and that, you have to pull that mind now again to focus on the Omkara. That which is with you all the time as a background understanding in and through all your transactions, that I am the Avastatraya Sakshi. I am the Attva Tattva. In and through all the transactions. So it is not matter of remembrance, it is not matter of memory, nor matter of concentration. Once you arrive at this level of clarity, nothing to be remembered. So sometimes in the camps and all, the aged people will say this, Swamiji, we listen to all this, but we cannot remember. We cannot remember these things. Sometimes when we go, we tend to forget. You may forget all the words, all the prakriyas. Doesn't matter. But all those prakriyas, if it has given you the clarity that you are the Avastatraya Sakshi, that constant, unchanging presence, what is the requirement to remember anything? You have this full clarity that you are and you are ever present, the unchanging factor in this entire changing world. You are that constant presence. And knowing that, and this is not a matter of memory. It's not that you know one day and then you forget second day. That only shows you haven't inquired properly and you haven't gained full clarity. This is not a conditioning for you to remember or concentrate upon at all. You know your true nature, you have this clarity. Rest of the details you may forget, doesn't matter. You know that you are the Sakshi of all that you remember, and you are the Sakshi of all that you have forgotten also, because you know that you have forgotten and you are the Sakshi of it. You know that. So it doesn't matter. As long as you are established, you have full clarity over this simple and the most profound fact that Upanishad is revealing, that you are that Atma Tattva, Avastatraya Sakshi, which transcends the Panchakosha. This is a not matter of memory or concentration. Furthermore, details on these verses, we will look into it in the morning class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shantish Shantish Shantihi. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So where is, we are supposed to have a group photograph. Is it ready? Okay. Huh? Okay.